And I'd like to welcome all of our Mission Lakes members who are watching this live stream on our Facebook page. And we'd like to start out by doing the pledge, so I'll ask everyone to stand, please. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, and I would like to mention to our membership that is watching us over live stream feed today that we are properly socially distanced, and because we're speaking into these microphones, that we are opting to keep our face masks off through the remainder of the meeting. With that said, Mr. Stalker, would you please give us the situation on our minutes?
All right, I'd like to make a motion to accept the board meeting minutes of March 28th and the executive session minutes dated March 11th, March 12th, March 18th, March 20th, March 24th, March 28th, and March 31st.
Busy month. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, from this point, we're going to go on to member comments, and we have received a few, I think about 4 member comments, which I will read each one and try and give a response, and if I'm unable to give a response, then I will ask one of the other board members if they would like to say a few words about that. The first question comes from member Anita Butcher. Anita, thank you for your question. It's asking, when will our pool open? And I know that all of us would like to get out there and use that pool because the weather's warming up. It's 100 degrees today, I think. Unfortunately, the county mandate is what it is, and it's now allowing us to have 1 member in there at a time. It becomes an impossible task for us to manage that process because a lot of it just like to come out, sit by the pool, get into the spa, maybe jump in the water, but not necessarily swim laps for exercise. So to try and keep 1 person in this huge pool of ours at a time makes it untenable. So what I would suggest is that you write the county and complain about this, or call them or email them and say, look, we want our pools open, because our pool's a little different from a lot of these HOAs in the valley that are 10 by 30 feet in size. That's question number 1. Question number 2 comes from Mr. Brian Fortner, and he has asked in his note that he'd like a clarification from the communications during the MLCC board meeting regarding the methodology used in the process for selection approved media that the club uses. And I think I have the answer to this because we have a dedicated Facebook page. We send out information through our e-news process. We have an MLCC app, and we have our website. Did I miss anything, gentlemen, except for those? Right? Hope that answers your question, Brian. Thank you for submitting that to us. The next question that I have comes from Mr. and Mrs. Hawkins, and apparently they live on Clubhouse and have watched all the cars speeding by that we've all seen. And their question to us is, have we ever considered putting speed bumps in place on Clubhouse Boulevard? And I think all of us have sought ways to try to slow down people here because they blow stop signs, they accelerate from that stop sign up to whatever that street is. Augusta, thank you. And but the thing is that the county owns these streets out here. So anything that's done in this community has to be done through a county process. And chances are they're not going to be willing to put in speed bumps. We have tried to work with the sheriff's department and the highway patrol, because I think, Brian, the highway patrol is responsible for this. And they've said that they'll send out some patrol cars to sit and see if they can't slow down these members, but we haven't seen much of that lately. No, we'll try to do a better job there. And the last question that we got in, or comment that would like to be made, comes from Ms. Bonnie Luce, and she's asked a couple of things. Both of them are together. One is a suggestion to carry over any unused food minimum to next year. And the second question is that she is suggesting a one-time monthly rate percentage reduction in our dues. And my answer goes back to President's message that I sent out about 3 weeks ago regarding the fact that we really need everyone to pay their dues during this process, because we have all of our staff on duty here. We may have some reduced hours, but we have worked to keep everyone employed and paying everyone through at least the end of May. And to be able to do this, we really need to have our dues coming in. We've checked the last 3 months, and I don't know, I think we've received in up to this date here in April about 85% of the dues, and we expect to get about a 95% pay rate for this month, and that's very good. It's either we pay now or we pay later, because we have a zero-based budget, and we need to be able to meet that budget at the end of the year. I know that these are very difficult times, but we still have the amenities out there, and we'll be up to speed at 100% one of these times soon. So that kind of goes, Bonnie, with the question about the unused food minimum as well. I don't think there's anything else. Does anybody else have any comments they'd like to make about this?
Just briefly regarding that question from Bonnie, have we looked into it? Has anybody checked into the program that's the federal program that allows us to help pay our employees and get the loan to be forgiven if our employees are paid, something like that?
Yes, Brian, actually we did, but the situation there is that the employees have to be dismissed from their position before we be able to use that pay. There's another name for it, but it's basically paying for the staff. And until they're not working for us anymore, we wouldn't qualify for that loan. Okay, I think that'll take us up to the manager's report. Brian.
All right, thank you.
All right.
I want to personally thank our owners for the tremendous amount of patience that I've observed from the membership as we work through these ever-changing county mandates. So thank you. And I know it's been a difficult process keeping up with all the different measures the county has put out there, and the closures and the basic havoc that our general lives have become. So thank you again. Review of the March financial packet. The consolidated income statement on page 14 of your April finance packet shows a positive variance of $163,000 or 57.4% better than forecast for all departments. There is some highlights. Food and beverages, $4,300 better than budget and $23,000 better than 2019. General administration is $61,000 better than forecast on expenses and $44,000 better than budget for revenue. Clubhouse, James and his crew, they are running the operation $15,000 better than forecast and $8,000 better than 2019. He's done a tremendous job. I've never seen the facility as clean and as well maintained as the last month. GCM is currently $61,000 better than budget and $15,000 better than last year. Raphael has really taken the time, and he's using his labor scheduling tools that he has in place, and it's really helping keep a nice product. I think the membership, all I saw was kudos to Raphael and crew on Wednesday when we did open the golf course, so thank you very much, and Raphael's doing a great job. Overall, the challenge we face today and for the rest of 2020 is the loss of guest green fee revenue. Golf operations will focus on member experience, course security, and merchandise sales. Rick has a nice tent sale out in front of the golf shop. We're giving away sleeves of balls with purchases. It's something he's going to run this weekend, so please take advantage of that. There is quite a bit of outstanding credit in the golf shop if you are here to spend that. The financial overview correlates to the current pandemic and the reduction or elimination of forecasted revenue streams. The club continues to move forward as the county mandates and changes happen. As we saw in 422, the golf course amenity finally opened with some restrictions. The pool amenity is still closed as of today, but as soon as we have notice from the county, that status could change. We will inform the membership through all communication channels as soon as we hear anything from council at the County of Riverside, because there's quite a bit of letters and different things that are happening behind the scenes. But as soon as we know anything about our pool, we'll let you guys know. The membership has had positive comments on the food delivery program. We are working on creating a fun value theme night delivered to your home on Thursdays. Thursdays are a really slow night for our food and beverage crew. And what we want to do is do an economical theme night, maybe a cowboy western with ribs and chicken. We had a lot of positive feedback on that night, and that would be something we could deliver to the home at an economical value. So please stay tuned, in touch with that. Our communication channels will release this information early next week of what we're going to do for next Thursday and the theme night. The beverage cart is online now, working on the golf course every day from 9 to 3. Please share your comments in support of this program, as we will reevaluate member satisfaction levels and costs of the initiative in the second week of May. Diana, our food and beverage manager, can be reached at dkinney@Mission Lakes Country Club for comments or ideas. I want to thank Wendy Scott. She had a great idea on some different things for the beverage cart, so we're going to implement those. So thank you, Wendy. Please stay safe, practice social distancing, and we'll get through these very trying times.
Brian, could I ask you to also let the membership know about one of the strategies that you're going to do for being able to communicate with our marshals? Because I know a lot of the times the members don't know who to call or what number to call when they see something going on in the course. So.
Absolutely. So we released a e-blast today, which will be on social media pages. And going forward, the course marshal, whoever's doing that duty, has a phone number that can be reached. That phone number is 760-600-6653. And the course marshal will be operating from 12 to 7. The golf shop is open. If you have questions before 12 o'clock, please feel free to call the golf shop. They will send somebody onto the field if they're not already out there. Rick was out today all morning. He had the course marshal phone with him, so that's a great number to call if you see anything happening out there that shouldn't be happening. We're doing the best we can. All our members are using their face coverings while they're playing golf per the mandate. But any things you see out there, please call us. The number is 760-600-6653.
Okay, Brian, thank you very much. And before we get into the committee reports, I would like to say that because of our mandate that we have from the county for social distancing purposes, that we're going to cancel all committee meetings with the exception of finance for the month of May. So all May meetings, with the exception of finance, will be canceled, and the finance meeting the date will be determined a little later, once we get a better feel for that. So, with that said, Tom, architectural control.
All right, there's no report from the committee, but we do have a variance request at 64623 Pinehurst. They request a variance to install a vinyl/plastic fence. And the committee, ACC committee, earlier in the year had pushed all vinyl fencing requests to the board, and that's why this variance is here. And it's definitely against our CC&Rs, so I would like to make a motion to deny this variance.
Okay, did you list the lot number and the tract number on that as well, Tom?
It's tract 4009, lot number 257.
Okay, do we have a second on that motion?
A second.
Is there any further discussion needed?
Yeah, I have a question. Has he applied for a variance? Is the fence up already, or is it under construction, or?
The fence is partially up. It was observed by the committee, and he was told to stop and go through the right procedures if he wants to put it up. So this is the procedure, and it's denied. It should be denied.
So he started the installation without even getting a variation approval to put the fence up?
Correct. And I believe a letter went out to him. He should have a violation letter for starting a project without a permit.
Thank you, Tom.
Don't we have a couple of properties that have some vinyl fences up now?
We do have some, and they were okayed last year before we decided that all variances would go before the board. So the ones that you see now were okayed early last spring before the board changed and before it was decided where we are now.
Okay, thank you.
This particular contractor or homeowner, I don't think they even did an application for that vinyl fencing.
They did not.
That wasn't even in the plans. Is that correct?
They did not. He has had some previous. We have had some previous problems with the property from when it was a vacant lot to his house that he's building now.
Okay. All right. Any further comments? Okay. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any against? Motion carries, Tom. Thank you. Anything else for ACC, or is that it?
That's it.
Okay, thank you much. We don't have anything from condos or declarations, so goes on to Mr. Doyle, Finance.
Yes, first I'd move that we approve checks over $1,000 from the operations and reserve accounts for March 2020.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Any comments necessary for the discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Next I'd move that you approve the finance and credit reports from March 2020.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion necessary? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Next I'd move that we approve RFCA 2020-14. And this RFCA had previously been approved by the board in an emergency session on March 31st. The RFCA is from golf course maintenance in the amount of $4,996 from the reserve to replace 3 contactor sets in the control panel at the main pump station. The vendor is Eagle Pump Services. This was one that had to be in an emergency move because the irrigation system would have been down for the golf course and the potential for damage was great. So we moved to get Raphael the parts that he needed.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, last, we made a transfer last year from the reserve fund to the operating fund to cover cash shortfalls. And I'd like to read the resolution to repay that money from the operating fund to the reserve fund so that we'll be clean on that balance. Whereas Section 5515 of the California Civil Code permits the board to transfer money from the reserve fund to the association's general operating funds to meet short-term cash flow requirements or for other expenses. And whereas there was a shortage in the association's cash flow, impairing the association's ability to meet its past operating expenses in 2019 due to additional expenses not anticipated in the 2019 budget, mainly bad debts and violations, legal fees. And whereas the board has determined it will be in the best interest of the association not to assess the membership for a reserve assessment in 2020, it be resolved that the president treasurer hereby authorize and instruct the transfer of the amount of $100,000 from the operating account to the reserve account. The money transferred and expended pursuant to this resolution shall be restored to the association's reserve fund on March 4/27/2020.
Okay, that resolution is pretty clearly written. Do we have a second to that resolution?
I'll second.
Is there any further discussions that's needed on this? I think this is an important resolution because, as it states in here, this will help to assure that we don't assess the membership for this. So that said, all in favor of this resolution?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution carries. Thank you, Mike. Good job there. Okay. guess that does you, huh?
Yes.
Future planning, we don't have any report. Tom, Golf Committee comes back to you. And I guess one of the things on there is the calendar.
Yes, that's the big item for this month, is to accept the calendar. We have had a couple of requests, and we probably should talk about it before we make the motion to accept it. The Elks Club tournament, there was requested to us that they would like November 21st or 28th, and both of those dates are open on the calendar. And also the men's golf member guest, right now they're just talking about moving their tournament to the November. So I would suggest putting the Elks tournament on November 28th, which is Thanksgiving. That leaves enough room for November 21st for the men's club member guest. And we should probably give the men's club member guest a deadline in maybe July, that if they can't make that happen, then the Elks tournament could be moved back to the 21st. That sound like we could do that?
I have a question. Like, if we're moving the Elks tournament to the 28th, is that Thanksgiving weekend?
Yes, it is.
And I think that that's a heavy use weekend out here for all the members, where that's a weekend we've got, particularly after this year where everybody's been shut down. Families are going to be out here as big family days. Just shut the course down for an outside tournament. Personally, I'm not sure that that's a good idea, that would best serve the members.
All right. If
Or even
not,
having it
we're
in
going to have to
November
make
at all.
we're going to have to make a decision on who has priority, the men's club member guest or the Elks Club tournament. Since the Elks Club tournament has notified us in writing, I would think they have priority.
Well, I'm not so sure of that. Maybe I'll have to go around the room and listen to what our other directors have to say.
The Elks Club, it would be a guest tournament. In other words, they'd be our guests using our course for their tournament. It's not, I absolutely oppose on Thanksgiving weekend. That's when a lot of a family, comes out and grandpa gets to play with grandson, and it's, once a year kind of thing. So I'd absolutely say no to that. And what was the date that the Elks Club was in the calendar for?
Date in this April.
Okay, what's wrong with April?
It's over.
No, I'm saying what in the calendar for next year is
No, this is for this year to move
This
it.
year is over. We've all been imposed upon by
Okay.
this thing, so sorry, you missed your tournament this
So,
year.
okay.
Just like we missed a lot of things as well.
Okay.
So I would say that's a non-starter there. As it regards the men's club tournament, I don't think we need to make any movement on that yet until they give us a solid for sure.
It's fine with me. Okay.
Ray?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Although I'm a little, I think I would take a little softer stance on the Elks. The Elks tournament feels like it's one of our tournaments. It's here every single year. They always do it here. It's our members running it, and it's usually for a pretty good, charity or whatever, for the Elks here. I mean, maybe we work with them and see if there's another day there. Thanksgiving weekend probably not the best time to take up our course, but can we do this on can we do it on a Sunday? Can we do it on a
Wednesday.
day of the week or Thursday?
What about a Wednesday?
Wednesday would
Okay.
probably.
Well, you know what? Maybe
It's fine.
why don't we make a motion to accept the calendar as it is right now, and these other two requests will be penciled in as needed if
Yeah.
it's available.
I'll make such a motion.
Do we, then one of the, well, go ahead, no one makes comments. He wants to second that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion necessary? I do have something to say about that, and I think that Brian had brought up the fact that maybe we can talk to the Elks about doing it in September, or maybe, as you said, a weekday during that month. But November is a busy month. It's a busy member month. And like Mike said, we've been shut down. No telling how long more we're going to be shut down. So it's hard to make a commitment for those outside tournaments at this point in time. So that being said, all in favor of that motion?
Yes.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? I guess not. So that motion carries, Tom. We're going to accept it as it is, and then we'll deal with the Men's and the Elks at a later date.
Right. That's all we have.
That's all you have for golf. Okay. Greens Committee, Michael.
Nothing new to report on that.
Okay, and I don't think we have anything on the House Committee. Is that correct, Tom? Anything there? All right, member
The
community.
Nothing.
only thing I would add with the House Committee is that Brian, and I don't know, because we've had a lot lower foot traffic up here at the clubhouse, we've gotten our final drawings in for the renderings on the restaurant area that show proposed ideas, as we move forward with the clubhouse renovation and upgrades. So I think that as the club opens up again, everybody gets an opportunity to come up here and see those. I think they're really going to be impressed with the vision that was brought forward by the House Committee and has been moving along here as we look at trying to figure out how to get something done on that in the future.
Yeah, those renderings, we have them now in the bar area up at the club, and we got the latest that shows the dining room feature going out onto the outside patio, and it's really a stunning look. Plus, we have the architectural design in here as well, so you can see the floor plans and the measurements and so on. So it gives you a very good concept of what this club could look like under a new remodel plan. So, as Mike said, when we get open, we get more people up here. I think they'll be very happy to what they see.
Are those posted online for people who are not going to be?
All of them except for the new one, which is not.
We can get that one up. That's a good point, Rick. Member communications, I don't think we have anything there. Again, the approved media is the MLCC website, the app, the e-news, and the Facebook page. I think we answered that question earlier. Neighborhood Watch, I don't think we have a report. Pool and Rec, anything going on?
No report.
Thank you. Next topic is old business, and what we have on there is the bylaws and the CCNRs. The situation on that is that the date of the final election day is May the 1st, and we're going to take a look. We've had a lot of ballots that have come in. Let me back up a second before that. We had our committee composed of our board members, a task force that answered a lot of questions that were asked by you, the members, about our bylaws, and I think they did a great job of identifying some of those things, and we posted out there for everyone to see. Our attorney also went through and spent a lot of time outlining what our statutory requirements, what our best practices, what are our existing procedures. And interestingly enough, we haven't had that much playback in terms of questions. So I'm assuming that everybody is pretty satisfied with what we put out there for you to look at. And I would encourage you to send in your ballots, because we need to get a quorum prior to May the 1st. Our Inspector of Elections is going to take a look at that, see how many ballots that we've got in by this coming Tuesday. This is per our attorney's recommendation to do. And if we get to the point where we still do not have a quorum requirement of 431 ballots in, then we're going to extend this election for the bylaws and the CCNRs another 30 days. Because we need to have operating documents that we can work from. And again, I encourage you, the members, that if you have not sent in that ballot, to please send in your ballot prior to next Friday.
And if you don't have a ballot.
Thank you.
And if you don't have a ballot, you can request from the office, and they will give you a new ballot.
Thank you, that's very true. Okay. New business, 2020 elections. I'll just go briefly, and if someone wants to jump in, please jump in. Obviously, we've extended the election for board members until July 25th, in the hopes that we can get to the point where we can have the membership in here and have a gathering, so we don't have to worry about social distancing. Because when we do a candidate forum, we would like for the membership to be able to be in this room, look at our candidates, ask them questions, see them face to face, and have them speak to you face to face, rather than have to do this electronically. If we get to the point in June, somewhere prior to June 13th, and we know that we're not going to be able to gather with a group of 50 or so, then we'll probably have to go to an electronic election, meaning that we'll have to have the candidates give their spiel online. Each of you will have an opportunity to see who they are, what they stand for, what their goals are, why they would make a good board candidate, and then we'll do the election that way. I'm hopeful that we'll get to the point before then that we'll be able to gather, but there's no telling. So that said, I guess the next thing, the announcement there, is that you, Tom, for food and beverage happenings? Ladies luncheon?
Yes, it is. Since there's nothing on here, does Brian have anything going?
Food and beverage, we do offer Thursday, Friday, Saturday delivery program. It's working very well. The queue system's working, the phone queue. What we're noticing is there's a little bit more traction in the sandwich, sending out the specials. We had a lobster sandwich that sold out on Friday. That was some inventory that the chef had, that he prepared a delicious lobster sandwich, a lobster roll. Please take advantage of the sandwich. It's open from 6:30 to 6 for our owners to come over and enjoy any of the items off that menu, and we are doing specials. Beverage carts online now, so trying to increase some of the food and beverage traffic there.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, Tom, in Trish's absence, and by the way, I'm sorry, excuse me, but I should have mentioned at the beginning of this that both Tom Spence and Trish Carney have excused absences, and that's why they're not here today. Their spaces are empty. So, Tom, if you would read the lien delinquent list.
Okay, just prior to that, just to let everybody know, there is no ladies luncheon for the month of May. And the lien delinquent
And
list.
Tom, before you go on from there, can I make a comment on that? The luncheon's been canceled, and these ladies from MLCC raised scholarship money for the kids out of DHS mostly, Desert Hot Springs High School. Usually they give 10 scholarships to these kids. They're probably going to be a little bit short of money this year. So I'm sure if you contacted like Julie Dawson or somebody in that group, they would be happy to accept your donations to that. I mean, these high school kids have gotten gypped out of their last half of the year, just like a lot of us have gotten things. But this is their one time, their senior year, and now they're going to have less money to give to these kids. And I'm sure the ladies luncheon league would appreciate any donations there to maybe give to a few more of those kids over there at DHS that are graduating this year, but not like they are every other year.
Ray, that's a good point. Thank you very much. Okay, Tom.
Okay, I guess the lien delinquent list. We have quite a few. Tract 4009, lot 736, lot 261, lot 819, lot 535, lot 69, lot 827, lot 342, lot 185, lot 137, lot 225, and lot 423. Outer tract 4481, lot 19, and outer tract 4354, lot 24.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. So I don't think there's any more discussion necessary. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, lien delinquent is listed. Okay, well that brings us to the end of our formal agenda. Does anyone have anything else that they'd like to bring up at this point? And
Oh.
you do, okay.
I have one, just
All right.
to reinforce my recollection. The board has put all projects on hold for now, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Except just, I want to just give a little bit of something to it, because we put them on hold to do, but we're still getting in bids for number 15, because if we don't get the bids in, a project will never get done. So at this point, the bids are the only thing coming in, just so that we know what the contractors are thinking about in terms of what they would charge us for that project. But there is no approval process as yet.
I have a question on that one also. Or have we got the drawings in on the ADA bathrooms and stuff yet? Are those in progress, or the engineering for that?
So we've engaged, the contract has been signed with 2 different engineering firms for that project, Lloyd Watson, and we have not scheduled them to come and do the elevations for the ADA bathroom, but whenever we decide we want to move forward with that, we can.
And just let me say that on that project, there's more to it than just the bathroom itself. It's a fairly expensive project when you consider that the fencing that's around the pool has to be blown back. There's a retaining wall put in. The ADA bathroom structure goes up. More pavers go down. There's got to be an addition to our parking lot out there done, and some cart spaces, and some handicap parking. So it's pretty involved. And so before I think we get to that point, we have to take into consideration all those fees before we engage that architect. So that's why we've held off. Plus, everything we're going through right now, it just doesn't make sense to spend the money. Okay, anything else?
No.
Okay, that being the case, then we're adjourned at 2:07. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.